Live with studios in Midland and Odessa, you're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9.
So we'll continue to work our
options,
our avenues, and really look for that last bit of contribution to get up to that $7 million mark. But we've reached our minimums to begin construction and get that process underway.
The new Midland YMCA facility is officially ready to begin construction. Coming up in just a few minutes, we talk about how the new building could potentially improve traffic in the area. Thanks for joining us for CBS7 News on the CW, and thanks to those of you joining us live on the CBS7 YouTube. I'm Lauren Munt, and on this day 5 years ago, the Crisis Center of West Texas began serving the community, helping over 1,500 survivors of domestic and sexual violence. Coincidentally, today is also the last Wednesday in April, which is globally celebrated as Denim Day, symbolizing unity against victim blaming. 5 years! For the past 24 years, the Peace Over Violence organization has organized its Denim Day campaign. This was inspired by an Italian Supreme Court ruling that overturned a rape conviction, claiming the victim's tight jeans were implied consent.
So now, 20 years later, we wear jeans in unity with her for any victim or survivor that has gone through sexual assault.
Denim Day calls on community members, elected officials, businesses, and students to make a social statement through their fashion choices.
Back to victim blaming in April, which is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We hear a lot of cases where victims, survivors are put at fault because of what they were wearing. Obviously, they're not to blame for what was done to them.
If you download the CBS7 app, you'll find more information on Denim Day and the impact Crisis Center has made on West Texas. Now for a story you'll only find on CBS7. You'll remember yesterday we told you about the local Spanish radio stations coming together. Today, in an exclusive interview, CBS7's Noe Ortega sat down with DJ Johnny's brother to talk about the late DJ's life and what he meant to the community.
If anything, we find a moment of rest, of respite, because all of that comes back. And I'm not going to deny it. If we bend, if we break.
Last Saturday, Guillermo Martinez says a friend told him about an accident at the intersection of 42nd Street and FM 1936. His friend told him he recognized one of the trucks involved in the crash. When Martinez found out, he says he didn't believe it, but then he got a call from officers on the scene.
They started telling me names, and they told me that, unfortunately, the driver of the white vehicle had passed away. So I still didn't want to believe it, because I had to see it to believe it.
Martinez says the support for his brother, sister-in-law, and nephew has been immense, especially being able to link all the local radio stations.
These stations have to look out for their interest. They have to look out for their business, and it's normal and it's natural. But at this point, they put all of that aside.
DJ Johnny was born in Ojinaga and has a lot of family in Mexico. Martinez says weekends won't be the same without DJ Johnny and his family. What he will miss about his brother is his presence and attitude among other people, but most of all,
his hugs. I'll never forget them. His hugs were so long, I didn't think he would ever let go.
During the week, events to benefit the family of DJ Johnny will continue. As more people learn about the passing of Johnny and his family, more businesses and groups of people continue to create more events.
Move over or slow down. That's the name of a new law that was put in place in Texas to hold drivers accountable on Texas roads. Every day, law enforcement officers, tow truck drivers, and other roadside workers are protecting and maintaining our roads. But some are hit, injured, or killed while serving the community. So what is the law? It's a requirement for drivers to now move over and put a lane between their car and roadside workers. Or if you can't move over, you have to reduce your speed to 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit.
And with the increased traffic of just all over the place, people need to be careful and slow down. We don't want to have loss of life due to construction or things that people are doing to repair the roadway.
The move over or slow down law will now impose, heftier penalties for violations, including a fine of up to $4,000 or possible jail time. Let's talk your weather forecast now with Chief Meteorologist Tom Teefer-Teller. Tom, it was hot outside today.
It was a little warm today, and we were expecting that to brew up maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two, but nothing's happened. Let's take a look at the satellite and radar view. The reason? Well, we had these mid to high level clouds continue to move across the area today, and that kind of put a cap on the atmosphere, prevented those thunderstorms from developing. They got as close as just east of Big Bend National Park. A little activity across southern portions of Pecos County has really been about it today, but we're expecting another storm system and cold front to move in for tomorrow. So again, as we move in towards Thursday, we're expecting the possibility of some isolated to widely scattered thunderstorms, especially here across the northern and northeastern Permian Basin. Large hail, strong damaging winds being the biggest threat, but it's not going to happen till later on in the day and into the evening hours, as we'll start off with low clouds in the morning, very mild to start the day, but by the afternoon hours, start to see that dry line start to sharpen up, and then here comes that cool front across the area, and there's some thunderstorm activity getting going in the late evening hours. Looks like the best threat is going to be just to the north of the Permian Basin, but some of it could trickle down a little bit more. Something we'll be watching for you tomorrow. And then it looks like a lot of wind on the way too. We'll talk more about that and the weekend here in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Tom. We've got continuing coverage for you now on the Midland YMCA Northwest expansion. The YMCA now has final approval from the Midland Planning and Zoning Committee. The project will break ground in May at the corner of Avalon and Mockingbird Lane. But this project isn't just about adding a new building. Board members also plan on working with the City of Midland to fix nearby roads.
But traffic is increasing, and those roads need to be worked on, and so we're going to address that and try to work with the powers that be to make the roads in that part of the community where they need to go.
The project should be completed by 2025. For more information on the final approval for the land, you can visit our website, CBS7.com. We've got an update for you now on the sports complex that's coming soon to Odessa. Yesterday, the Odessa City Council approved a memorandum of understanding with Centurion. That MOU is essentially a non-binding partnership with the specialty sports funding source. The City of Odessa says they're working to find more sponsors to fund the complex.
It's been a lengthy process. There's been a lot of people giving it a lot of time, but it is going to happen. And so May the 14th will be kind of the day that things really get to popping.
For more information on the new sports complex, you can visit our website, CBS7.com. The Odessa City Council also voted to approve a raise for Odessa firefighters. This comes after a study was done on market pay competitiveness.
We've got very good people that work for our department. We have awesome employees, awesome firefighters, awesome paramedics, and we needed a way to compete with other departments across the state.
We don't want to lose them to other departments, so we need to keep up with their pay scale. It's really important.
OFR's pay raises are expected to take effect next month. Let's talk some local sports news now. It was signing day at Odessa High School. Several seniors put the pen to paper in order to take the next step of their academic and athletic careers. There were 4 football commits and 1 basketball commit. And 2 notable signings was future UTBV cheerleader Sydney Dutchover and future Odessa College volleyball player Zoeli Herrera, who both look forward to continuing their careers right here in West Texas.
So I chose to become a Falcon for my next step in cheer because it's closer to home and I still want people to be able to go out and watch me cheer, since some people either didn't get to see me cheer this year because this is my first and only year that I did cheer at high school, so I wanted to have more people be able to come watch me.
I thought the program was really good, and I've seen the way that these girls play together, that they're very, very well connected, and the connection with the coach is very, you can see it on the court how it's very good and everything, that you could just tell it's a wonderful program to be a part of.
Well, I like the environment, and I really like the head coach that they just got, and then the girls were so nice. All of them have been reaching out to me and just been super nice. And then while I was there, another girl signed, and she's going to be my roommate right now, and I just fell in love with it there.
It feels great. It feels like a dream come true. Man, I've always wanted to go and play college ball. I feel like that's what everyone wants in life, you know, go to the next level, and I'm just blessed that I could be able to do that.
When I just got there, the environment, I felt like I was going to exceed, and it just felt like home. And I was going to be taken care of, and somewhere that I'll be pushed to be the best me.
It feels good, you know, just blessed that I could do this, further my academic career and athletic, yes sir.
At Odessa College, the Lady Wranglers softball team is riding a 5-game winning streak. Head coach Doug Eastman is 8 wins away from 900 career wins. And with a few games left in the regular season, the coach is happy with the progress of his team and knows what's on the horizon for playoffs.
Everybody's bought in. Again, a fantastic group, great energy amongst this team, and it's getting better every week. So I think we're peaking at the right time. Still got a long ways to go. I mean, bottom line is you know, we got to figure out a way to beat Midland again twice in the regionals, and we are on thin ice, but we are staying afloat.
Talking softball, 3 of our local 6A high school teams are gearing up for the bi-district rounds of playoffs. 2 of those teams in Midland. It'll be a best of 3 beginning tomorrow night. The Legacy Rebels will be on the road to face El Paso Eastwood. First pitch for that game is at 7 o'clock local time. Meanwhile, the Midland Lady Dogs will be at home to host El Paso Socorro. First pitch to that game is at 6:30, and you can watch that at the Boneyard in Midland. And 2 weeks ago, we told you about Popcorn. He's a Midland restaurant owner and runner who celebrated his birthday by running 63 miles to raise money for Special Olympics. Today, his donation was doubled thanks to a Midland couple. John and Stacy gave Popcorn a check for $6,500 after they saw stories about his run. This donation now brings the total amount for Special Olympic athletes to $12,500. For a full story on Popcorn's birthday run, you can go to our website, CBS7.com. And still ahead, growing unrest overseas is causing growing unrest on college campuses across the nation, including right here in Texas. We've got those details next. Protests over Israel's actions in Gaza have intensified across United States campuses, including right here in Texas, with walkouts today at both UT San Antonio and UT Austin. In Austin, Texas state troopers in riot gear began breaking up a group of protesters shortly after the demonstration began. Witnesses described tense moments with physical struggles between police and students. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said today that more has to be done to stop the protests across college campuses.
What's happening on America's college campuses is horrific. Anti-Semitic mobs have taken over leading universities. They call for the annihilation of Israel. They attack Jewish students. They attack Jewish faculty. This is reminiscent of what happened in German universities in the 1930s. It's unconscionable. It has to be stopped. It has to be condemned, and condemned unequivocally. But that's not what happened. The response of several university presidents was shameful. Now, fortunately, state, local, federal officials, many of them have responded differently, but there has to be more. More has to be done.
More than 20 arrests were made today at the protests in Austin.
Well, we are going to be looking at thunderstorm possibilities staying in our forecast for Thursday as a cool front arrives. We'll talk about that and talk about what impact it's going to have on the weekend. Coming up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, no thunderstorms today across the area. Here's the big reason why. We keep talking about this, but we had all this high cloudiness across the area. So I'd kind of put a lid on things, kind of shut the lid this afternoon because we didn't have, again, the updrafts to get going with the thunderstorms because of that cap in the atmosphere. And it looks like it's going to hang around for most of the day tomorrow, even though we are going to have a little better forcing with a cool front start to move into the area. But all that we saw was really a couple of showers south of Fort Stockton, really about it today. And we had this ridge of high pressure. That kind of complicated things too a little bit, and this plume of moisture right off the Pacific. We're going to see that thin out just a notch tomorrow. It depends on how fast this ridge gets out of here. We'll see some of that capping decrease across the area because we're tracking this next storm system southwest of Los Angeles. That's going to zip into portions of the southwest U.S. and bring that next front. Right now we're dealing with a dry line that really hadn't moved too much across the area. A warm evening across most locations. Again, nothing getting going in the way of the thunderstorms as highs across the state today. Well, some of the warmest stuff was back here across West Texas. We were all the way up to 97 in Presidio. 88 what we topped out at the Middle National Air and Spaceport. Your futurecast is showing plenty of clouds on southeast winds that are going to be a little gusty overnight tonight. So with some low clouds to wake up to first thing in the morning, and then we'll see some mid to high level cloudiness move across, but it starts to clear out by the afternoon with the approach of that next cold front across the area and that dry line feature. And once they meet up, we could see thunderstorms spark up northern Permian Basin into the South Plains. Now this is what this model's saying. Could be a little bit further off to the south as the evening progresses before things move out after midnight. On the west side of all this, well, we're going to see plenty of wind, but again, the yellow shaded area I think will be the best bet for isolated to widely scattered thunderstorms. It could be strong to severe, especially here across parts of the northern Permian Basin. Again, on the west side, plenty of wind. So fire danger concerns are going to go up to critical to extreme levels coming up tomorrow afternoon. So be careful and hold off on any outdoor burning. Rest of tonight, we'll see those temperatures into the mid to upper 60s out there as south winds will be gusty and plenty of low clouds to wake up to in the morning. And we'll have cloud cover most of the day with those breezy conditions and not expecting the thunderstorms until later on in the evening hours as temperatures will warm up once again to near 90 plus in many locations. A hint of a cool off behind that front with gusty winds out of the west to northwest, mid 80s on the way for Friday into the start of your weekend. And we could see a little blowing dust too, especially on Friday before we see a little more of a quieter weather pattern late in the weekend starting next week. But then it looks like more thunderstorm possibilities in the forecast mid to late next week.
New airline rules from the Department of Transportation aim to save travelers money and time. We'll tell you about it next. Things might soon be easier for air travelers due to new rules that the Department of Transportation announced today. The DOT unveiled a new policy for airlines canceling or delaying flights. CBS7's Washington News Bureau reporter Brendan Querton spoke to Transportation Secretary about the change.
The Department of Transportation says airlines will be required to provide cash refunds for canceled or significantly delayed flights. They believe that will provide financial incentive for airlines to avoid those issues.
This is a big day for America's flying public.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says, in theory, airline customers are owed a refund for a canceled or significantly delayed flight.
In practice, it often doesn't work that way. We hear again and again from passengers who describe how hard they have to push just to get the refunds that are owed to them.
The new rule is an airline must refund payment to the card that paid for the flight within 7 days without requiring any action from the passenger. The refund must be made to whatever payment was used and cannot be paid out in miles or points unless requested by the passenger. The rule applies to flights that are canceled, domestic flights delayed at least 3 hours, and international flights delayed at least 6 hours.
The biggest expansion of passenger rights in the department's history.
The DOT will also require price transparency, forcing airlines to disclose baggage, change, and cancellation fees up front. Those fees must also be shared with third parties.
Healthy competition requires that as a consumer, you comparison shop, which means knowing the real price of a trip before and not after you buy.
The refund rule will take effect in 6 months. The fee transparency rules will begin phasing in 6 months. In Washington, I'm Brendan Cullerton.
All right, Tom, take a look at this. This is pretty cool, but it's not something that we're not used to.
No, we've seen that a couple times.
We've seen that here. Skies over southern Greece turned an orange hue yesterday as dust clouds, again, something we're very used to, blew across the Mediterranean Sea from North Africa and engulfed it in this orange color. It looks like a filter.
Yeah.
But again, we're very used to this. I imagine that must be pretty crazy to see if you're not.
A big storm system moved a lot of dense dust from the Sahara all the way up, like you said, across the Mediterranean and into Greece, causing that. For West Texas, maybe a little dust, but also an isolated thunderstorm chance tomorrow.
All right, thanks for watching.